Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today. This is your host Sangeeta, and you're listening to part 7 of our podcast series on wildlife. In the previous episodes, we spoke about how hunting, which had been quite common in India, has now become completely illegal. We spoke about the stories of kings and commoners who took it upon themselves to protect our forests and wildlife. India has had a reasonable success in protecting most of its larger wildlife species. The Asiatic lions are found only in India today. 70% of the world's tigers are found in India today. But in this episode, we talk about a shocking story of a disappearance of a bird from our skies, the vultures. Those of you who've heard past episodes on What's New Today would know that I'm usually joined by young children from anywhere in the world, and I usually request the children to do a little bit of their own research on the topic. But in today's episode, I requested one of my young co-hosts. His name is Smyan Shetty, and I've requested him not to come with any prior research. And I requested the other young co-host, a 4th grader, Advik, to do some research, because I wanted to see how surprised a 4th grader would be when they hear this story. So before I jump into the story, let me ask Advik and Smyan to first introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Advik. I am studying in class 4. I am going to turn 9.
You're going to turn 9? Wow, congratulations. Do you like reading about birds?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Have you ever read a book which has stories about vultures?
I have. I think I've read 2 or 3 books.
Wow, very interesting. All right. On to our second young co-host for today.
Hello, I am Smyan Shetty. I am 9 years old. I love to read.
Welcome, Smyan. Have you read books about vultures?
I have an animal encyclopedia, but that does not say a lot of vultures.
Yeah. I've rarely read an encyclopedia or a book that covers birds in such great detail, but that may just have been me. But Advik says he's read books about vultures, so there are such
I
books.
wonder how.
No wonder. Advik, can you tell us the name of the book you've read about vultures?
Well, it's hard to say because I've forgotten the books. I read them long ago like that.
Long ago, no? You're 9 years old. Long ago, you'd have read such books. It's hard to remember. All right. Okay, so Advik, tell us, what do vultures normally eat?
Vultures feed on dead animals, cattle and all.
Okay. What do you think, Smyan? What do you think vultures eat?
They are scavengers, so they'll eat anything that is dead and they like it.
So do you think it's a good idea for vultures to be around? How do they help us?
Oh, yeah.
Because if there was no vultures, the dead bodies will be all around. We will get disease because of that.
If nobody cleared up the carcasses of the dead animals, they would rot and all that bacteria would spread to us. Sorry?
Or even humans.
Or even humans, yeah. But I think in most religions, we either cremate or we bury the body. So I don't think we leave it for vultures to eat, except one religion. So in only one religion, which is the Parsi religion, they have a tradition of leaving the dead for the ecosystem, nature to take care of it. So they allow it for the vultures to feed on them. Smyan, have you ever heard that something really bad has happened to vultures in India?
I've not heard any story, but I just like in the city we can see like many hawks and sometimes even eagles, but I've never seen any vultures in my life.
You haven't. What about you, Advik? Have you?
Yes. In the zoo.
We find vultures in the zoo.
And we can find them in rehabilitation centers. I don't know how to pronounce that. If you go to Bhubaneswar, there's a vulture sanctuary there.
But to answer Smyan's question, can we find vultures in zoos? There are a few zoos, very, very few zoos that keep vultures.
One day when I went to zoo, I saw king cobra.
Yeah, king cobra you'll find in a zoo, but you don't usually find vultures in zoos. It's a rarity. But coming back to our story about why, related to vulture conservation and preservation, the shocking story is that the number of vultures have come down from, I think, somewhere around 40 to 50 million to less than 5,000 in just 15 years. Just as a parallel for us to understand, tiger numbers came down from 40,000 to 1,500, and it took like about a good 50-60 years for that to happen. Vulture numbers have come down from 40 to 50 million to just 5,000, and that too in just 15 years. Very short time span. What could have caused this?
In the 20th century, people were allowed to hunt. Now they aren't. So there is no food for the vultures. So I think that is why the vultures died.
Smian's idea is that vultures have gone down in numbers because lower down in the food chain there are not enough creatures available for them to eat. Correct?
Yeah.
Because they are scavengers and they feed on other creatures.
I don't know why we don't give the dead bodies of humans also to vultures.
When certain traditions have been established, it's very hard for people to change those behaviors. Advik, tell us, what is the real reason for vultures to have declined in such drastic numbers in such a short span of time?
It is the use of medicine diclofenac.
Diclofenac, okay.
And it is being used for veterinary use to treat cattle and all. So when the cattle dies after veterinary use, the diclofenac will get converted like poison-like substance, and the vultures will eat it. That medicine is toxic to vultures, so they will immediately die.
Okay. So, if I've understood you correctly, diclofenac is a medicine that was given to cows and a lot of other cattle. And this medicine was very safe for the cattle. It was a painkiller for the cattle. But whenever it is that the cattle dies, the diclofenac, which is still in the body of the cattle, is also consumed by the vulture. When diclofenac is consumed by the vulture, it becomes poisonous to the vulture almost instantly. I think in just a few hours, the vulture's kidney fails, and pretty much instantly the vultures drop dead.
White-drummed vultures, that's a type of vulture. There's just 1 milli% remaining. It's 99.9%. It's gone, extinct. These vultures are very critically endangered. So they are taken to a rehab center and they feed the babies.
Right.
And they are released recently 2 Himalayan griffins, and they were soaring into the sky after 45 days.
Wow, you saw such a video?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. But the good news is that India banned the use of diclofenac in cattle. But by the time it was banned, it was too late because we'd already lost 99.9% of our vultures. So when vultures were first dying, they didn't know what was causing the death of vultures in such large numbers. Usually you start thinking, oh, there is some viral infection that is spreading amongst vultures, which is causing this death. So then by the time they figured out that it was the cattle that the vultures were eating, which was causing this, and the cattle which had diclofenac was the one that was causing the vultures to die, it was already too late.
For those who have born in the 90s, you might have known this, but for people born in the 2000s like me, I didn't even know about it before I saw the video.
But shall I let you into a secret?
Yes.
Even people born in the 90s sometimes don't know about it. Even they are going to hear about it for the first time when we discuss it in the podcast.
I don't know. I don't know, but pretty much people would have known.
You think pretty much everybody would have known?
Yeah.
Okay. After we finish this recording, why don't you ask all your aunts and uncles and any relatives and friends you meet? We'll
Yeah.
find out if they've heard that diclofenac has caused the entire vulture race to go extinct. Will you let me know after you've spoken to all your aunts and uncles what they say? How many of them have heard about diclofenac?
Yes.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from you, but we'll do that as a parallel conversation after the recording is over.
Okay.
Okay. If you lose vultures, diseases can spread quite rapidly amongst humans, amongst cattle, amongst almost all the other living creatures. Even water can be poisoned.
And the trees would also finally die, all because of the diclofenac.
All because of one diclofenac.
The earth could also die.
What do you think we could do now, Smyan, to bring those vultures back in large numbers? What ideas do you have?
Just like people preserve tigers, we can do the same for vultures. Female vultures give birth to the younger vultures. We can take care of the younger vultures, and the vultures will also grow in a large number.
I like the idea that we need to have more rehabilitation centers where vultures and their young ones can be taken great care of so that they don't end up eating carcass which is poison. But the really, really tricky question when it comes to vultures is, do you know how many vultures are born to one vulture mother every year?
50?
Smyan, what is your guess?
More than 5?
A vulture lays only one egg in a year.
One
Egg in a year. That's it.
What? That is much too less.
Too less, right? So if you cannot artificially go around creating vulture eggs yet. We haven't discovered how to do that.
India did a really big mistake.
We could have collected the vulture's DNA and made our own artificial vultures, and India could be a more for vultures.
Oh no, this is like Jurassic Park movie where we bring all those extinct dinosaurs and we grow them in the laboratories. We'll have to do something.
That's what I'm talking about. I just say we do the same to vultures.
Hopefully, we make a Jurassic Park style breakthrough and we're able to breed vultures in large numbers and we can see them all soaring in the air in several 100,000 sometime soon. Before I wrap up this episode, here are 2 fun facts I found about vultures. Fun fact 1, remember I told you earlier that most species of vultures in India lay just 1 egg a year. So I was wondering how many eggs do species of vultures elsewhere in the world lay. Turns out they are all quite frugal. The maximum most vultures lay is just 3 eggs a year. Fun fact number 2, vultures have been treated with a lot of respect and sanctity in many ancient civilizations. For example, the Mayans treated the vultures as personal messengers of gods. If you look at the Egyptian and Indian mythologies, you'll find vultures either as demigods or gods themselves. That's it for this episode. In the next episode, which is part 8 of our wildlife series, we come back to you with a happy story of Project Elephant. I'll see you on Friday and
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.